after having read the task, I made sure that I understood the text, and then I came up with this plan. I want to point something out, that the first time you create your plan, in this case my flowchart here, you must not know all the details. So you can come up with the steps. Here I have these 4 steps, and then afterwards you can go back to one of the previous steps and fill out more information. For example, if we take a look at the second step here, the first time I just wrote calculate the circumference using, and then I didn't remember the formula. So I had to go and look in my math textbook, or maybe I had to go to the internet to find this formula, but I can go back and add it later on. So we can do it in several passes. First I make sure that I have something that I like. Alright, I have these 4 steps. They correspond to how I understood the task. And then afterwards I can fill out extra details. But now that I am happy with what I have here, I'm gonna create a new file and I'm gonna start implementing it. The first I do is that I save it, and I save it on my desktop, and I give it a name that I feel represents the thing that I'm doing. And I'm doing lecture 3, task number 3, and extension is .py. And after that, what we can do is that we can start implementing these steps. And the first step is to declare the variables that was specified in the task. So I'm going to start doing that. And when we come to the last one here, pi, we see that it's written in capital letters. That means that it is a constant. Constants are not intended to change. So if you see a variable with only capital letters, it is an indication that this is a value that you shouldn't change. And now that I have the same values as was given in the task, I feel confident to go on to the next step in my plan here, which is to calculate the circumference. And that we should do using pi times and 2 times the radius. And the next step here is to display both the calculations that is given or shown in the task, and also our calculation of the circumference. And they should be displayed in exactly the same way as is shown in the task. So we're going to try to accomplish that using the print function. And if we look at in the task and what we have here, we can see that the first thing we have to print is the first number that's gonna be added to the second number, or the second number is gonna be added to the first number. And how are we gonna write that here? I think what I'm gonna do is the following. And I'm going to write a little bit of text here, and then I'm going to explain it, my thinking behind it. So what do we have here? I say that we're going to print the first number, and after that we're going to print an escape character, which is \t, which means that it is a tab. So we print a tab, the plus sign, another tab, Then we print the second number. After we have printed the second number, we do the same thing as we did here with the plus. It's just that we print the equal sign instead. And the final thing here is that we add the second number to the first number. So let's try to run it and see what happens. And if we take a look, it looks very similar to what we have in the task. So I think we have nailed that one. Now we just need to do the same thing again. It's just that we are not going to add the second number. We're going to add the third number. So we have to change it here too. And we can try to run it again just to make sure. Yes, it looks the same as it does in the description. So the last thing we need to do is to display the circumference. And let's start by adding a new print statement. And it says the circumference is approximately, and then here we are gonna specify what it is. But it says approximately. So how can we do that? We see that it's only one decimal in the task, or as displayed in the task. So what we can do then is use the format function to say that, all right, I want to print the circumference, and I want it to be printed in the format that I specify here. And I specify that I only want it to print one number or one digit after the decimal point, and it is a floating point number. If we try to run it and see what happens, we can see that it is the same output as we have in the task. So we have managed to solve the task, but before we end, we should think about what we have done here. So we have used escape characters to format the output down here so it looks a little bit nicer. We have also used another way of format our output by using the format function to specify that we only want one decimal.